Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results, superstars, and some birthdays and other wrestling news around the world. Happy birthday goes to Ring of Honor wrestler Tommaso Ciampa. Real name Tommaso Whitney. Turned 29 years old. Ciampa spent a short amount of time in WWE before being released in August 2007. He is a former Ring of Honor TV champion, dropping the title to Jay Lethal in April of earlier this year. Happy birthday also goes to the 64th Yokozuna Akabono Taro. Born name of Chad Hihio Rowan, turned 45 years old. He became the first ever non-Japanese born sumo wrestler to reach Yokozuna level. Akabono faced Big Show in a sumo match at WrestleMania 21 and is the current All Japan Triple Crown Heavyweight Champion. Current Pro Wrestling Noah president Akira Tal turned 53 years old. Tal was a major star in All Japan for many years before breaking away from the company when Noah split it off in 2000. Then in 2009, Tal succeeded Noah founder Mitsuharu Misawa as president, but continued to wrestle until December of last year. In this following video, Bill Apter of OneWrestling.com talked with Leland Race, the son of WWE Hall of Famer Harley Race. Up until last year, Leland wrestled under the name of Jason Jones. He talks about wanting to make a living out of wrestling in Japan, which lessons his father faced, and he would like to wrestle and more. Advertised dark match for a Raw event was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Happy birthday goes to Yujiro Kushida, turned 31 years old. He was born May 12, 1983. He teamed with Alex Shelley as the Time Splitters during Saturday's Ring of Honor / NJPW Global Wars event in what was widely regarded as the best match of the show. Former WWE star Ricky Ortiz turned 39. Former WWE wrestler Doug Basham turned 42 years old. He was born May 12, 1972. WWE now producer Billy Kipman, aka Pete Gruner Jr., turned 40 years old on Sunday, May the 11th. He was born in 1974. Daisy Hayes turned 31 on Sunday. She was born May 11th, 1983, and retired October 1st, 2010, and has worked only once since then. Also, happy birthday goes to Tito Santana, aka Merced Salas, turned 61 on this past Saturday, May the 10th. He was born in 1953. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. His presenter was Shawn Michaels. Also, happy birthday goes to William Regal, real name of Darren Matthews, turned 46 years old on Saturday. He was born May 10th, 1968. He turned 46. He's only a few months older than me. Chris Jericho appeared on Opie and Anthony earlier yesterday, and here's earlier on Monday, and here's some highlights. He's not opposed to returning to WWE, but other projects occupying his time right now. He seemed frustrated that some fans got mad at him for venturing outside of pro wrestling on his Talk as Jericho podcast. He's noted that some fans complain and would rather see him with a low-level indie guest as opposed to someone like William Shatner. Then he talked about kicking the Brazilian flag at a WWE live event in Brazil, and said after the match he went backstage and there were soldiers with guns. A colonel had also gotten upset and flipped over a table due to the whole thing. Vince McMahon sent Jericho a text saying, "You will not be coming back to Brazil. What the F is wrong with you? Why would you do something like that? I'm sorry I'm so angry at you." Jericho, confused because he was just playing a heel, called Vince, and Vince suspended him, told him to get on the next plane and fly home. Called Jericho's actions Bush League BS, and then hung up the phone on him. Jericho found out how long he was suspended by reading WWE's website. Then he talked about how he and Batista had a match years ago and where Batista bladed himself. And Batista was brought into a room with Vince McMahon and Dean Malenko at the next TV tapings and confronted with a tape from a secret ceiling camera that clearly showed Batista blading. Batista paid his $100,000 fine and also Jericho's $5,000 fine. As of this morning, a six-man match with John Cena and the Usos versus Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family was planned for the Raw event. This would be a rematch from SmackDown. There were a lot of eyes within WWE on Adam Rose right now, as his debut was seen as a failure on his first Raw show. And it's being said that it's a bigger story than people are letting on, but we don't know why yet. Word from Raw is that everything major for the Payback pay-per-view was changing today, and some of those changes have to do with Daniel Bryan. WWE Studios released the first official photo of Summer Rae in the Marine 4, which I will show at the end of this video. Seth Rollins recently spoke with Brett Buchanan of the Alternate Nation website, and here are some of the highlights of that. So, when the Shield debuted, did you get to talk to Jim Johnson, who is the head of WWE's music, all about the theme song? And could you imagine any other theme song working for the Shield? And he commented by saying, we didn't when we were worried about the music, because music to me is super important. It's always been a big deal. I love music. I was always a stickler for wanting real music, like a real song. But when I heard Jim was going to our song, I was pretty excited because he's got a good track record for entrance themes. I remember when we recorded the voice portion of it. That's us actually doing the Sierra Hotel India. That's me, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. I remember recording that, and then we got to hear it maybe the next week at a TV taping or something like that. It was awesome. It would really be hard to imagine now doing another song because we're so used to hearing those words and the beat of the music coming down the stairs to it. So it would really be hard to imagine doing something else. One song we get kind of fired up to is called Wild Eyes by Parkway Drive, who I'm a big fan of. The song is pretty gnarly, and I think it would make a sick entrance theme, actually. WWE's product has been TV PG for about 6 years now, but Extreme Rules, you had a pretty great jump in the crowd during the six-man tag. Do you see the product moving back into a more hard-hitting, unpredictable style like that, or do you think that was just a special match? Well, he comments by saying, I don't think the PG rating has a whole lot to do with the style we bring in the ring. The company is now publicly traded, and as you mentioned, the programming is PG, but realistically, a lot of the matches are still as hard-hitting and fast-paced, and definitely more athletic than they've ever been. If you look at the talent roster now, you look at guys like Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, the Usos, and especially a lot of the guys coming up in NXT like Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, and myself. We're just bringing a different element to the matches that I don't think people are used to, so I don't really think that the PG rating has much to do with the in-ring content as it does necessarily with the storyline content. Plus, the company is just a little more keen on our safety these days too. They take extra precautions when it comes to injuries. They've really taken the danger out of the bleeding situation. They've taken the extra care to make sure that everyone's healthier so we can be doing this longer. Realistically, that's good for everyone. If you look at Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family too, their storylines are pretty edgy and sometimes borderline PG-13. I think it's a good time to be a wrestling fan. I don't think there's any reason for us to move away from trying to be kid-friendly. Yeah, I don't think that being TV PG can technically stop you from having an edgier product. Because if you look at WCW back during the NWO days, or even during the earliest days of the Attitude Era, it was under the TV PG banner. It's just all about what they're doing under that. So it seems like the product is moving in a good direction. But talking about WrestleMania weekend last month, a lot of surprising things happened last month. The Undertaker streak ended on the actual show. Then a few days later, the Ultimate Warrior tragically passing away. What were the reactions from you and those around you when those events occurred? Well, he comments by saying, it was really just a roller coaster of a weekend because on one hand, it's WrestleMania 30. It's the biggest event in the history of our sport. Something to really be excited about and be happy about. And unpredictability of the Undertaker streak being snapped for the first time in 22 years. That was literally one of those moments that you'll remember where you were at and what you were doing. I was upstairs in my family room. We had just got done beating the dog crap out of Kane and the New Age Outlaws for like 2 minutes. So we were riding pretty high. I was up in the family box with my friends watching the rest of the show, kind of revealing in my success. Then I remember the 3 count after Brock Lesnar's F5. I literally stopped and my jaw dropped, just like everybody else. I couldn't believe it myself. I thought for sure that was never going to happen. I thought that would never. I don't know. Talking about it now seems surreal, even though it's been a little over a month. The sad part is that is what it was, is what it is, and it's part of the show. Well, we got Tuesday night. When I first heard about the Warrior, I heard about it through Twitter because Triple H was the first one to get the news, and he went straight to Twitter and put it up there. That was the first I had heard of it. There's really no word for that, for a guy who after all those years had come back and was in the middle of a personal and professional redemption to lose his life and at the really one of his highest points personally, and is strangely inspiring and too much like he knew what was coming. He was at a beautiful place. I know that from talking to him over the weekend, just from people who were close to him, to see how happy he was. At the very least, he was in a very good place personally. My thoughts and sympathies go out to him and his family and his daughters and stuff like that. I think for him, it might have been okay for him. I think he might have been all right with the way things ended, and that's always important. Regarding why WWE recently released Mason, and that was the end of the interview there. Regarding why WWE recently released Mason Ryan, officials felt that he wasn't improving at a fast enough rate. So Ryan was, he was well liked and didn't have an ego. It was also noted that it must have taken a lot for WWE to release Ryan, because he has the size that WWE liked, of course, Vince McMahon, and the idea of having a superstar babyface from Wales. Kane, the Boogeyman, Shelly Martinez, Charles Wright, and Scotty 2 Hotty will be at the Rhode Island Terracon on June the 7th and 8th in Providence at the Rhode Island Convention Center. Wright will be appearing one night as the Godfather on Saturday and then as Papa Shango on Sunday. Visit Terracon.net for more info and tickets. Good old JR was recently asked on JR'sBarbecue.com about his relationship with Eric Bischoff. JR noted that he believes Bischoff has moved on from pro wrestling, as he wrote, "My relationship with Eric is good, and I will be interviewing him on a Ross Report podcast very soon. I think that he's moved on to other things from pro wrestling," unquote. Regarding NXT star Danny Burch, who has recently been released also from WWE, there was a feeling that Burch was given up on by officials after he returned from his knee surgery. Burch is 32, and the emphasis in developmental is on youth. Former WCW star Alex Wright has recently at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. As WWE's website has a video at this link on this, catching up with Alex Wright, and I believe he will be a trainer, as he's recently hired for the Performance Center. Wright noted that this is his first time he's been in the United States in 12 years, and he runs a successful wrestling school in Germany, and noted that he was invited to the Performance Center to act as a guest trainer to the talents. WWE star Batista and UFC star George St. Pierre are in the cast of the new Kickboxer remake, according to Variety.com, and they are not in the main characters. So, and this movie is a remake. Thanks to the .net reader Ernesto Cruz for this news. The movie remake is from the 1989 film that starred originally Jean-Claude Van Damme. The film star will beat Elaine Moussi, who has been cast in the Van Damme role. So it remains to be seen how big of a role Batista and GSP will play. I'd be more excited if they were doing a remake of Bloodsport and Batista was cast as the monkey style fighter. WWE posted another video looking at the coolest moves of Seth Rollins. This video, the link there. The Raw pre-show kicks off with fans filing into the Bond Secures Wellness Arena in Greenville, South Carolina. Josh Matthews, Booker T, and A-Rye are joined in commentary with Jimmy Hart tonight. And Hart thanks everyone for watching Legends House. Booker confirms the Wyatt family versus Usos and John Cena for tonight. Riley talks about the horror show with Kane continuing, and the panel talks about Kane versus Daniel Bryan feud. They talk about Evolution and the Shield before leading us to a video package from Kane last week. Panel talks more about the Shield and Evolution. We go to the ring where Kofi Kingston and Titus O'Neil are starting out for their Superstars match. We go back to the panel and Booker does a bad Jamaican accent. The panel wastes more time and we go back to the ring where Kofi is getting the win. Jerry Lawler interviews Kofi up on the stage, and Lawler brings up Rusev. Kofi doesn't want to talk about the past. He asks if anyone in Greenville can cook him up a meal because he's so hungry. Kofi says he's going to celebrate. Damian Sandow interrupts the panel. Sandow jokes about not getting used and has a microphone in his hand, and it's cut off. So he goes to grab Josh Matthews' mic and says someone in the back must be afraid. Sandow says it's a public company and someone must be worried. Sandow says mistakes happen and walks off. Matthews is surprised as we go to network promos. We'll come back to the panel with hyping for the Legends House and the WWE Network referral program. We see Bray Wyatt's promo from last week. Renee Young is backstage with John Cena and Usos now. And we get hyping from and rants about teaming with the Usos. The Usos are so excited. The theme is words that start with G, as it appears. We go back to the panel and get more network commercials. We get a video package for Kane and Daniel Bryan. The panel host hyping tonight's Raw some more. Evolution will be here. Jimmy Hart takes some photos with the fans passing by. Then we see Michael Cole making his way out to commentary. And the Shield is backstage going over things for tonight. As JBL is out next with a big pop. Jerry the King Lawler is out next as the pre-show ends. It goes off the air. So there's no report on Superstars' other matches. As I will find out myself. I think I got it somewhere in this report. If not, it'll be in the SmackDown report. Again, from Greenville, South Carolina, at the Bond Secures Wellness Center for Raw video package recap. Sheamus winning the U.S. title in a battle royal, and the Shield battling the Wyatt family and eventually Evolution. Then we get Michael Cole, JBL, and Lawler on commentary. The Shield stood in the ring for a promo. Dean Ambrose recalled how they were all left in the ring. He said that doesn't happen very often, but they don't stay down. He said they want Evolution. Seth Rollins took the mic and then said they are not running from Evolution, they are running to Evolution. He said that they want a rematch and will run through Evolution. Then Rollins says they will hunt down Evolution once they arrive. He said Evolution is good, and all three men have headlined WrestleMania. You were really good, he added. Rollins said that you're not the evolution they once were because they can't evolve into what it takes to beat the Shield. Rollins then says he saw Roman Reigns pacing and asked if he had something to say. And Roman gave the mean face and the women squealed. Reigns recalled taking all the finishers from Evolution. Is that all you... All of that made me realize, is that all you got? He said, if it is, then they got a serious problem. Reigns said they are going to teach Evolution the concept of payback and to believe in the Shield. He said he would personally team them to believe in him. Then we get on the big screen a limo showing up, arriving at the building. Shield members in headed backstage. And we see Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista stopped and Hunter signed off on something from a production crew or whatever on a clipboard. Shield attacked them, and WWE producers and referees quickly intervened to break them up. Hunter was left lying on the ground holding his head. Broadcast team discussed the segment and then hyping the six-man tag match. Rob Van Dam made his entrance as Cole Saw said RVD would face Jack Swagger after the break. The Shield shined during the opening segment. Rollins had more mic time than his teammates, but he didn't overstay his welcome this time. Reigns continued to come off like the coolest guy in WWE. They didn't make a big fuss over Hunter lying on the ground holding his head. I thought it might be an injury angle initially, but then they just moved on without drawing attention to it. Then we get Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger. We're in the ring cutting a promo after the break. Zeb says his deportation list is one of the most important documents in U.S. history. And when Adam Rose interrupted him, Zeb said a man who hangs out with a full-grown bunny has moral issues. Match number 1. Rob Van Dam versus Jack Swagger with Coulter in the corner. The bell rang and was the cue for Adam Rose and his posse. They all headed to ringside and Rose stood on the apron on cue with the mic with his music. Swagger took a swing at Rose, did his trust fall into the arms of the posse, which had more and more men in costume than before. RVD ended up kicking Swagger and performing the 5-star frog splash for the win in a 2-minute match. Match consisted of the punch and splash. RVD celebrated with the rosebuds afterwards, but he didn't look nearly as corny as Dolph Ziggler did on Main Event Live. Unfortunately, Michael Cole demonstrated how to stand out of your seat and jump up and down. WWE still hasn't figured out that Cole endorsing something like this is a kiss of death. A video packaging focusing on the WWE Divas champion Paige. It featured highlights of her in the ring and of her sit-down interview. Cole said Paige was up after the break. Simple and effective. This was better than the usual graphic we see for whoever is coming up next. It was brief and yet it made Paige look important. Then we get the latest Believe vignette airing for Bodas, as he's still not debuting yet. Match number 2, Divas Champion Paige versus Alicia Fox in a non-title match. JBL noted that it was a good week for the UK because Paige, Bad News Barrett, and Sheamus were all champions. Cole added that they will all be on the UK tour. Alicia Fox cut a promo saying that the Divas don't like Paige and she doesn't fit in. Alicia hit her with the mic and put the boost to her. Referee got Alicia to back off and then let Paige get to her feet and make sure that she was okay to compete before starting the match. Alicia worked over Paige early and put her on her surfboard early before dropping her on her face. Paige came back with a Paige runner for the win out of nowhere. After the match, Alicia threw a tantrum at ringside. She tore the announcer's table top off, then opened a can of something and sprayed it on the front row of fans. She also face-palmed a crew member and jawed at the referee. Alicia grabbed JBL's hat and strutted away. This didn't make JBL very happy. Even though Paige won the match in 3 minutes 55 seconds. And they show a video recapping the horror movie Silliness involving Daniel Bryan Kane and Brie Bella from last week. Commercial break. It seems like a little thing, but I like the way the referees now check on the baby faces when they are attacked before a match. It always seems odd when the heels are rewarded for attacking baby faces by having the bell ring to start the match. Alicia was good here, and I've never really understood why she became a throwaway diva. The only thing I didn't care for was the ways that she grabbed JBL's hat and strutted at the end, if it only because she went from being a heel to getting cheers from the horny males. A portion of Daniel Bryan's entrance was shown. Once in the ring, Bryan thanked the fans. He said he knew it was going to be an uphill battle from the moment he first won the title at SummerSlam. He said it has been, but it's just a little bit steeper than he thought it would be. The fans chanted no. As Bryan laughed and said, "So that's what it is like to be John Cena?" So that's what it's like to be John Cena. Bryan said, as soon as he got back from his honeymoon, he got the worst beating of his life. He recalled Kane performing 3 tombstone pile drivers on him. He said he was determined to come back and beat him, and he did at Extreme Rules. Bryan said that came with a price. He said his entire style comes with a price. He said he believes some of the reason that people cheer him is that he pays the price with his body. Bryan said he has to pay the price this week when he has neck surgery on Thursday. Bryan said he's not too happy about it because this has been a dream of his since he was a little kid. He said there are people such as Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Kane who are excited about it because they think his career is over. Bryan then said there's a chance it will be, but it won't be, Bryan said. He said he doesn't know when he will come back. He asked the crowd whether he will come back, and then they said they know the answer. Bryan led the fans to the Borgasm Yes chants, and the broadcast team discussed the news at ringside. A Bray Wyatt and John Cena video package aired. Commercial break. Damn, can this guy catch a break? I hope the retirement possibility is simply a case of the severity being played up for the storyline's purpose. I just can't believe the roller coaster ride this guy's life has been lately. Here's wishing him the best. Praying for his surgery to go through with nothing but success. John Cena makes his entrance with his new Never Give Up rally towel. Footage of his appearance at Grand Marshal of the Susan G. Komen event over the weekend was shown. The Uso brothers made their entrance. Wyatt family did their backstage. We're here bit. And didn't mention the name of the city. Commercial break. Match number 3. John Cena and the Usos versus Wyatt family. Wyatt family isolated one of the Uso brothers early on. Uso made a top tag to Cena, who got a strong reaction with some booze mixed in. Cena cleaned house until Luke Harper picked him up and slammed him down on his face. It was a rapid fire spot time with all 6 men taking their turns. Cena applied the SCF on Rollins, but Wyatt broke it up with a senton splash. Then Wyatt went for his finisher, but the Usos broke it up with a pair of super kicks. Uso brothers dove onto Wyatt and Harper on the floor. Inside the ring, Cena hits the Attitude Adjustment on Rollins for the win. And the match took 9 minutes and 40 seconds out of our lives. After the match, Bray Wyatt took the mic in the ring and addressed Cena on the stage. Wyatt thanked Cena for helping him realize what he must do. Wyatt thanked Cena again and told him to follow the buzzards. Broadcast team hyped Evolution, appearing later in the show as they go to commercial break. A strong, high-energy 6-man match. Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper looked good in defeat, and the crowd was fired up for the rapid-fire movement sequence as the babyface's star power. And it was a logical feel-good match to follow up with a Bryan announcement. Surprised that they're not playing up the reaction of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon to the Bryan news. I expect the usual insincere routine, but fans are asking questions about the status of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Well, we'll find out towards the end of the show. Well, Evolution makes their entrance as the broadcast team, recapping the opening segment. Orton said it's time to take the gloves off. He said he knows the Shield were Hunter's boys at one time, but it's time to put the Hounds of Justice to sleep. Triple H conceded that it might be time to take the gloves off himself. He said he coddled them, and the Shield got a little too big for their own minds. He said they were undisciplined, like kids who who waved a stick around in front of them. Anyway, Hunter said they will get their rematch. He said the gloves are off and they will take them apart one by one. Hunter recalled Ambrose asking if they looked humbled. Triple H said Ambrose doesn't look humbled yet, but he will. He said he plans to pluck the wings off of the hummingbird Rollins. He said they will get to Reigns when they take their time and make an example out of him. Hunter said Reigns will be the member of the Shield who does not come back from Payback. Roman Reigns, you will fail to adapt and at Payback you will. Seth Rollins tripped up Triple H from behind. The other members of the Shield hit the ring, and all three men worked over the Evolution and cleared them from the ring quickly. Batista then grabbed the mic and said he's had enough about 5 times, and then challenged Reigns to a match for later in the show as they go to commercial break. Rollins' attack came just at the right time where there was a growing boring chant. The Shield has been so dominant in every head-to-head competition the factions have had that what Evolution says just doesn't ring true for that matter. It doesn't feel like a showdown match as much as one that the Shield would win barring the outside interference. Eva Marie, Cameron, Naomi, and Brie Bella were shown at ringside following the Brie Bella and Natalya introductions. Footage aired for the Total Divas. Natalya painted a bad picture of Cena and Nikki, and now she's upset that Nikki didn't like the painting. Yeah, really. Match number 4, Natalya versus Nikki Bella. The aforementioned cast members stood at ringside and held up numbers. Late in the match, Natalya went for a roll-up, but Nikki sat down on her and got the pin. Natalya was upset afterwards. Nikki celebrated with the other cast members, and Natalya came over and tore one of the numbers that they were holding up. And Nikki pinned Natalya. Awful match. Natalya's mad because Nikki didn't like her painting. What the hell are the fans supposed to do with this? Do you cheer Nikki for having good taste? Do you cheer for Natalya because she's overly sensitive about her poor painting skills? No, you turn the channel and swear off Total Divas while doing so. Footage aired of Sheamus winning the U.S. title during the Battle Royal from last week. U.S. Champion Sheamus versus Curtis Axel with Ryback in a non-title match. Axel and Ryback now have matching red hats. Really? They played rock, paper, scissors, and flipped a coin to see who would work the match. In the end, Sheamus applied the clover leaf, causing Axel to tap out. After the match, Ryback attacked Sheamus, who asked, "You want to fight, fella?" Commercial break. Sheamus defeated Curtis Axel in a 3-minute, 20-second match. Match number 6, U.S. Champion Sheamus versus Ryback with Curtis Axel in a non-title match. Ryback and Sheamus down and went for the meat hook clothesline, but Sheamus ducked it and countered with white noise for a 2 count. Ryback ducked the brogue kick and performed the spine buster for a 2 count. Sheamus performed the power slam for a 2 count. Sheamus went to the corner and set up for the brogue kick, but Axel distracted him and Ryback regained control. Ryback went for shell shot. Sheamus slid out off of the shoulders and hit the brogue kick for the win. And this match took 12 minutes. So much for the match red hat idea. Ryback and Axel should add red mittens next week. The featured match on WWE Main Event advertised Sheamus versus Cesaro. Stephanie McMahon walked on to the ring for a promo. She built up Daniel Bryan and then said she hopes she's not right about this, but he's simply not an A-plus player. She said he has the heart of a champion, but he just can't pull through for you. As she said, Stephanie said she and her family have to do what's best for business. And then Stephanie said that since they don't know what the outcome of the surgery will be, she needed to have him come to the ring so that she could tell him something face to face. Kane's pyro hit instead, and Kane drags Bryan out by one arm. They didn't show anything else during backstage segments or anything to set any type of crap up. Kane just dragged Bryan out by one arm onto the stage and left him there. Bryan's shirt was torn and his face and arms were scratched up. Stephanie flashed a look of shock. Several referees and trainers ran out, and Brie Bella joined them on stage. Stephanie joined them on the ramp and watched as the medical crew put Bryan on a gurney. And Stephanie told the EMTs that Bryan is having neck surgery on Thursday. Commercial break. No official ruling regarding Bryan and the title yet. Let's just say that Kane dragging him around by one arm is odd for a guy having neck surgery. At the rate that they're going, I just expect Kane to show up and attack Bryan during surgery. After the break, Bryan was being placed in an ambulance. Stephanie said that she was sorry repeatedly while claiming that she didn't know what was going to happen. Brie shoved her and told her to stay away. Stephanie initially looked surprised and then flashed her serious, angry face as Brie hops in the ambulance and off they go. Match number 7, Fandango with Layla versus Dolph Ziggler. More Total Divas footage aired before the match. Late in the match, Layla got her foot caught in the ring apron, which was very strange. Which expected would be somebody under the ring holding her foot down. Heck, I was expecting myself to get Fandango disqualified. Well, Fandango turned his attention to her, and Ziggler hits a zigzag for the win. The match took 4 minutes 45 seconds, I don't realize. After the match, Layla entered the ring with a concerned look on her face, and she was scared, looked shitless. Fandango grabbed the mic and said that he may have lost the match, but he knows he's a winner because no woman makes him feel the way that she does. He said Dolph may have won, but she is worth something more, much valuable. My heart. Layla, I love you, Fandango said, and they made out, kissing in the ring. Ziggler and Fandango actually borrowed that finish from classic Vern Gagne and Nick Bockwinkel match that was held at the Cow Palace in 1978. Okay, just making shit up now. Based on the live crowd's reaction, no one cared about the post-match love fest. The fans barely even groaned at the I love you line, like wrestling fans normally do. Hacksaw Duggan came to the ring and doing his usual shtick, several times. He snuck in a big plug for Legend's house before Lana's music interrupted him. She said Dugan symbolizes America in that it was once a great nation, but just like England, the empire has crumbled and it is a laughing stock. Lana then said China has the strongest economy in the world. The fans chanted USA. She puts over Vladimir Putin. And Dugan excused her and led a USA chant. Lana introduced Rusev. He lost his first name last week. They walked to the ring together, and Lana told Dugan he had one chance to beg for mercy. Duggan tried to start a USA chant. Rusev grabbed his 2x4 and broke it over his knee. Baseball bat style. Lana gave the crush command. Big E's music interrupted, and he came out and ran out for the save. But Rusev worked over him and caught him with a big kick to the head, and he rolled to the ringside. Not sure what that was about. But he getting his ass handed to him, and that led Duggan to feel so patriotic. Well, Phil, I'll be damned if he didn't lead another USA chant while he was selling next to him on the floor. Broadcast team recapping Evolution and the Shield drama from earlier, and then hyping Batista versus Reigns. Commercial break as Damian Sandow makes his entrance, and then recalled his interruption on the pre-show. He said people are afraid of what he has to say, and then he was interrupted by entrance music. We got Cody Rhodes with Goldust versus Damian Sandow late in the match. Cody raked the eyes of Sandow while the referee yelled at Goldust for no apparent reason. And Rhodes hit his ass kick for the clean win. 4 minutes 50-second match. Broadcast team hyping Reigns versus Batista as a commercial break. After watching the finish over again, the referee is a stickler for where Goldust stands. I believe the idea was that he wanted Goldust in Cody's corner, which is probably the first time this has been enforced in the modern day history of WWE. Another boldly vignette aired for Bo Dallas footage aired of Bryan announcing his neck surgery and the scene at the ambulance. Backstage segment, Bray Wyatt cut a promo while Harper and Rowan stood by. Wyatt said humans are flawed, they've become parasites, infected. As he said, Wyatt accused Cena of being the same. He set up a last man standing match for a Payback pay-per-view, but it was not made official. The Shield make their entrance for the main event, commercial break. Cena's response to Bray Wyatt was advertised for SmackDown. Evolution made their entrance. Roman Reigns with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in the corner versus Batista with Triple H and Randy Orton. After a few minutes of forgettable action, the Evolution members got involved and the Shield members got better of them. Referee called for the belt. Roman Reigns fought Batista to a no contest in 4 minutes 20 seconds. As it goes past the 10 o'clock hour, the Shield had Evolution down and were standing around. All around them in the ring, Stephanie walked out and pointed a group of heel wrestlers to the ring, which is Ryback, Axel, 3MB, Swagger, Brodus Clay, Titus O'Neil, and Fandango all running out. The heels worked over the Shield members while Evolution watched on from ringside. Well, the Shield came back and got the better of all those wrestlers. Ryback was the last man in the ring with them. As Reigns speared Ryback and then they teamed up for the triple powerbomb, Evolution looked a little concerned on the floor. The Shield continued to be so dominant that it's definitely helping them stay over, yet making them look like heavy favorites against Evolution once again. Sure, there could be cheating that leads to an Evolution win, but these matches should have felt like major showdown matches with a real mystery regarding which team was better than the other. They didn't capture that going into the Extreme Rules, and they definitely not creating it for Payback. Perhaps they feel it's worth it to make the Shield strong. The dark match main event after all happened. But first, Daniel Bryan's next injury is being portrayed backstage like it's not a big deal. And Bryan will be fine. There are people really worried about what doctors will find when they go in for surgery on Thursday. After all went off the air in Greenville, South Carolina, Evolution watched from the stage and Heath Slater was left alone in the ring with the Shield. Slater ended up taking a Superman punch from Roman Reigns. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt had been previously advertised as a dark main event, but that did not happen. As seen on Raw, Alicia Fox threw a fit at ringside after her loss to Paige and tore apart the announcer's table. There was a segment on WWE app where Alicia approached Stephanie McMahon and quit the company. Unknown if that's true yet. Speculation is that this is just an angle. Could be tied in with the angle where Damien Sandow expressed frustration on the Raw pre-show as well. Well, is he going to quit also the company? Well, the matches for Superstars was advertised as Kofi Kingston versus Titus O'Neil. That's the only match that got the results for. And the other match was supposed to be Sin Cara versus Drew McIntyre. No results on that yet. Well, during the after on Twitter, Sandow was tweeting after the show during his segment. It was worth it for it. As next week, last week, the WWE officials were planning more angles for the network and post shows. And that's going to be it for the Raw video for this week. Thanks again. Peace out. God bless. See you when I be by the way. If you didn't know, you better call me, bro.